Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Well, if you've just taken one good look at these parts here and you've wondered what in the heck I've got going on, well, you're not the only one. I kind of wonder that myself. But basically what I have here is another No Moon laser body build. I've done these in the past with some Telecasters, but obviously this one's got a little bit of a twist. I think this may be the first V-type body that No Moon Laser has produced. They're a seller that sells pine bodies over on eBay. All the bodies are basically sectioned, so they're kind of barn caster, really rough style. They're always a stain base with a very thin layer of nitrocellulose lacquer over the top. I like them because they're cheap, they're light, and I always find them to be pretty good quality, even though sometimes the routing isn't quite the best, but it definitely works for the barn caster type vibe. At any rate, I'm going to put this one together, and I think we'll have a couple of episodes in store with this build. So let's go through the parts that I have on hand. So I talked enough about the No Moon laser body, but here's a little bit better look at it. It did come with a pick guard originally. I accidentally tossed it, I think, or maybe it didn't get included in shipping. I don't know where that is, so I'm going to have to come up with a pick guard of my own. It's routed for a standard control cavity. It's not quite routed for a jack cup and jack. It's actually set up for a plate, so I'll have to come up with a jack plate for that. It's standard Telecaster bridge, standard Telecaster neck pickup, and obviously routed for a Telecaster neck. So anyway, that is the body. Then you all will have seen me take apart a Telecaster previously on the channel. It was relatively recently. You remember that little sunburst one that I had? It's a made in Mexico one, and I think it was a 2012. This is the neck from that guitar, so maple neck, 21 fret. Also the electronics out of that guitar, so I've got the modern style bridge plate and bridge pickup, Mexican style neck pickup. Again, these are ceramic magnet style pickups, so nothing really crazy there, nothing expensive, just, you know, the basics. That's basically what this is. I just want something simple, and I thought it looked kind of cool, so let's see how it falls together. Control plate, pots, and switch are also out of that guitar. I think I might add a TBX tone control, to be determined. And then I've got a few more things in terms of neck plate, screws, saddles, pickup screws, ferrules, and a few things that are tossed into this bag, all coming from that Made in Mexico fender. So let's start throwing some things together and see what works. So the first thing I want to try doing is mounting the neck to the body. It's going to allow me to check all kinds of things, but mainly my bridge alignment. So let's go ahead and start that. This thing is a squared neck pocket, so it fits Telecaster style necks. You could throw a Strat style neck in there. It would just leave a little bit of a gap on both corners, which you could cover by a custom pick guard. I'm doing it right and using a Telecaster one. Now hopefully the pre-drilled neck screws line up with the actual holes in the neck. Let's see. Well, already ran into a little bit of an issue, so let's check out what's going on here. Well, I'm really close to being aligned, but I think I might need to adjust some things. Alright, so what's going on first is that the pre-drilled holes for the neck plate don't quite align. I can get these two on this side started. These two don't even come close. So I've got to basically dowel the neck and start over with some new holes. It's not a problem per se, it's just kind of annoying. I wish they wouldn't pre-drill these holes, to be quite honest with you, because if you can see it, the neck plate is slightly tilted this way and it just isn't quite lining up. So if I was to do it myself, I would have dropped the neck plate onto the body, squared it all up perfectly first. I think that would have made for a little bit better of an attempt at this. So anyway, what I'll do, I'm going to probably re-drill and dowel the holes in the neck just to start from scratch. I should also mention, before I go trashing No Moon laser bodies, I have bought stuff from them before that was Telecaster based, and the neck holes lined up perfectly. So I think it's just a function of this new body style, and they may have some tweaks that they need to work out. So I dowel holes all the time on the channel, so I won't spend a lot of time talking about this. Basically, I've got some pieces of 3/16 inch dowel rod. I'm going to drill these holes out a little bit, basically to 3/16, right? Then I'm going to coat these in glue, hammer them in place, wait for that to dry, and then cut them off flush. And that'll be kind of like starting over. A lot of folks say that this isn't a very strong method of repairing a hole in a neck like this or starting over on a hole like this, because a lot of times these dowel rods are softer wood than the maple. While that is true, I find that they do actually gain a lot of strength in the way that I mount them, because I put them in the hole, cut them off flush, and then I wick super glue down into the end grain of the dowel, which carries all the way through and hardens it up a little bit. Also, it's not a massive dowel. I mean, the bigger the dowel was, the more softwood you'd be putting in place, but there's not that much softwood that's going in here. And it would be better to use a maple dowel, I do admit that, but maple dowels are not easy to come by for me, and I don't make my own dowel rods. The other option would be to put a threaded insert in the neck, but I think I'd have just as many problems trying to line up the holes for those as I do with the current holes in the body. But anyway, that's a lot of talk. Let's drill. Check these for fit real quick. Oh, those are going to be perfect. They're just tight enough. Now I use regular tight bond on this process. Get some glue down in the hole itself. Roll the dowel and tap it in place. Then I just repeat that 3 more times and wait for those to dry. So these are all dry now. I've snapped 3 of them off, but I thought I'd just quickly show the process of scoring and snapping the last one. So you want to take a razor blade and score the bottom of the dowel right where it meets the neck. And then you can just take a little hammer and snap the dowel off and trim the excess flush with the razor blade. Once you get it trimmed off to that point, take some thin super glue and drop it into each one of those holes. And that will start to wick in, and once it wicks in, it will drop the level of the glue, and you may have to reapply a little bit more. Once you're done gluing, then wait for that to dry, scrape them off flat again with the razor blade, and we're ready to install. Now I'm skipping ahead here a little bit, but just to let you know, I did fill the holes in the body as well, at least 3 of them, and then I re-drilled them. But when I re-drilled the first one, it walked on me because the dowel was much harder than the actual pine body itself. So I ended up filling that hole again, and then I had to re-drill on the drill press just to make sure that my holes didn't move around. That's why I've skipped ahead here. After I drilled the holes in the body, I mounted the neck to the body, drilled the holes in the neck, and then mounted everything so that the plate is actually on it now, and it's much, much straighter than when I first started. I don't know what happened to the holes from the factory. They just seemed like they were a little bit off. And that's part of the reason why I want to do the next step, which is to check the location of the bridge. I'm assuming everything's in line. The neck pocket was routed just a little bit off. I can show you a picture of some chipping on one side that happened because it's much thinner on the lower side than it is on the upper side here. At any rate, let's lay a straight edge up against the neck. Okay, so a line going straight down my neck is basically ending up running basically straight through the outer mounting hole for the bridge. This line is running through the same hole on the other side, so I'm pretty satisfied that the neck pocket and the bridge are in line. I guess that means we can trial mount our bridge next. Well, it seems like this body is fighting me a little bit as I try to do small things. I don't know why. I mean, surely it's not because I'm trying to put a V body on a Telecaster. But anyway, I think the outside 2 holes are just a little bit out of line with this bridge. The string holes look perfect. The middle 2 holes look like they'll work, but the outer 2 ones look like they're a little bit too far inboard. I do need those to be perfect because the saddles go on top of them, and I wouldn't want the saddles catching on a screw that was up too high. So, I don't know, I guess I might fill those and re-drill them too. Man, I tell you, this never ends. Let's go ahead and put the screws in for the 2 center ones and go from there. Alright, well those 2 will work. Now that they're screwed in, I really do feel like I need to fill these outer 2 holes. So I guess we'll do that next. Alright, well I'm going to wait for that to dry. I'll cut them off and re-drill them just like I did on the neck side of things. And I hate to call it quits on an episode with so little progress made, but we did get the body mounted to the neck, so that was something. And I'm getting the bridge relocated, so by the time I come back to the next episode, that will be done. And really one of the reasons why I'm ending the episode here is because it always takes a long time for these glue dowels to dry and for my super glue to set up, and just all these things take extra time. And it's preventing me from getting the episode out. So this way I'll get something out for you guys to watch. We'll come back on episode 2 Maybe now there'll be a part 3, I don't know. But anyway, I am determined to make a guitar out of this mess. And if I'm having this many problems before I even try to cut my first pick guard ever, well, I guess we'll just have to hope that goes well. Thanks for hanging out with me on this one. I appreciate all the likes and all the comments. Thanks to those of you who have subscribed. I won't put a lot of Amazon links in the description this time. If you do want to support me generally, that general link is there. As I add more parts, those part links will be in the description, so check there for that. Thanks, and I'll see you guys next time.